Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome back to the Culture Wine Club. This month we're going to be drinking a couple really fun wines. The first is a single vineyard Grenache Blanc coming from Scions to Sinai. Only 1,600 bottles of this made. Tiny, tiny production. And then the second is the Brookdale Estate Mason Road Syrah, produced by Kiara Scott, who's one of the rising stars of the South African wine industry. The first wine that we're going to drink is the Gramadoelas Grenache Blanc from Scions to Sinai. This is made by a winemaker named Brookdale, who is a 7th generation grape grower in the Stellenbosch area. He grows grapes like Pinotage, Chenin Blanc, and Syrah. But the reason why we picked this particular one out for your club this month is because it comes from a different region altogether, which is known as Klein Karoo. This area is about 3 hours inland and north of Stellenbosch. So because of that, it has much less influence from the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, which makes the region of Klein Karoo quite warm. On top of that, it gets very little rain and the soils are extremely poor. So the grape variety, Grenache Blanc, tends to have very thick skins, but very small berries. That translates into a wine with a lot of texture, which is what Bernard looks for when he makes the wine. So he picks the grapes quite early to ensure that the acidity is still retained. This only is about 12% alcohol. And then before fermentation, he does a skin contact cold soak for about a day. So after the fermentation is done, he ages the wine in neutral barrels for about 9 months and then bottles unfiltered and unfined. So to me, this wine is like the ultimate bridge away from Chardonnay because it's got that rich, full-bodied texture. It's got these ripe fruits. Give this wine a try with some caponata or ratatouille, or even some shrimp that's been marinated in like some garlic, olive oil, and paprika and then grilled. Your next wine is the Brookdale Estate Mason Road Syrah. This comes from the Paarl region of South Africa, which is right next to Stellenbosch. This is made by an amazing winemaker, Kiara Scott. Kiara arrived to Brookdale Estate as an intern through the Cape Winemaker Guild's Protégé program. This incredible initiative is set to help diversify the industry, and it takes promising young winemakers and puts them in a different winery for 1 year at a time, 3 years in total. So she was in her 3rd and final year and landed working at Brookdale under one of the most famous winemakers at the time named Duncan Savage. After just a year in this internship position, she ended up taking over the head winemaking role after Duncan had left. This made her the youngest head winemaker in South Africa at the age of 26. What's even more amazing about her is that before that, she had already made wine in Sancerre and the Condrieu regions of France, as well as the Russian River Valley here in California. To make the Mason Road, Kiara picks the youngest Syrah vines from the estate. She destems all of them, but takes about 1/3 of those stems and dries them in the sun for a few days. This drying lignifies the wood and turns into this really beautiful, spicy black pepper component in the finished wine. So after the fermentation is done, she ages in a few different sized barrels that are all neutral. And so between the work of drying those stems and aging in all these different sized barrels, you're ended with this beautiful, really layered, really textured Syrah. So you get all these blackberry, violet, and plum notes, but then you get all these savory qualities, even like this black olive and black pepper quality. All right, everyone, that'll do it for this month's installment of the Culture Wine Club. Thank you so much for tuning in and for being a member. I hope you enjoy the wines, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Bye now.